모든 건 변했다. 히트 시즌2.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another great day of SPL, perhaps one of the greatest days, if not the best day, of round number 3. We're going to start off with a sick matchup here. It's going to be Jin Air versus KT Rolster.
Both teams sitting up at the top of the rankings, and the winner will take the first place spot. A 3-0 and +8 and a 4-0 and +9. So, all in all, a more impressive record for the Jin Air Green Wings. Better indicator points for the matches they have played. And we're starting things off with Leenock versus Cure here in the first matchup.
Yeah, and this, every matchup that you look like, or that you look at it, it looks really close, right? Except for this one, which is kind of interesting. I feel like a lot of people are going to be favoring Cure here. Leenock hasn't had the best results so far, and KT is still searching for that strong fourth player. We've seen a lot of players come out. Losira was doing good, trusted well at the SSL, and now Leenock's getting his shot here once again. But if he could pull an upset here against Cure, that would put KT at a great start, because I feel like they're definitely favored in some of these other matchups.
Absolutely. This is the one, this is the map that is, like, if they can pull an upset, if they can take this win, the most important. This is the one to win for sure. I don't have picture on monitor, so I don't know if we're on camera right now or not. I don't think we are. No, we're looking at players here.
Yeah, monitor died the second we started the cast. So it was totally fine up until the cast started.
Yep, we're about to go on camera, I think. So sorry if I look weird if I'm like trying to fix my monitor because it's not working. And
yeah, monitor is not working. But, so we'll have to deal with that. I think we're on camera.
I think so, but
not 100% sure.
We will need someone to come down and fix that, and that will probably happen. But it's a great day down here at the studio. It's packed. It's filled with people. The entire normal chair seating that we have is totally filled. We have people sitting upstairs. The back row seating is filled as well. It's actually kind of crazy. All right, so let's take a look at the current rankings. Jin Air and KT vying for first position. With any score today, with a win for Jin Air, they will in fact pass KT Rolster and take first place.
Yeah, so those two teams at the top, and look at SK Telecom T1 on the bottom, 0-3, -6. It's not looking like a great round for them so far, and we're still trying to signal people to come over here and do our monitor and fix that up. But you guys can see on screen the winners ranking so far. Zest and Hero tied at 14 wins a pop.
That's right. And, when you look at this, it's filled with, well, you guessed it, KT Rolster players, 2 Jin Air players as well. And Sue and Dark are still in the top rankings. It's just that this round in particular, SKT has been vastly underperforming, but these players are still some of the best, and they still deserve those top spots.
Yeah, and you guys can see the lineup for tonight. It's going to be sick games all night. Cure versus Leenock, Rogue versus Zest on Frost, Maru versus TY and King Sejong Station, and then SOS versus Stats in a PvP on the new map, New Gettysburg.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. Whenever a new map comes out like this, it's always about figuring out the new strategies and new builds for the matchups. I think SOS is one of the king players at this, but Stats may be overall the better PvP player, so that collision there could actually be what decides this series at the end of the day. So we'll have to wait and see how that one matches up. If you do come down to the studio, by the way, I know this is in Korean, this CG we have up here, but you can actually get signed cards with the players that are like collectibles, so those are really cool. SPL20 does a lot of stuff like this, like for Star League, they have pins for each player, they have these cards that are signed by the pro gamers, and it's pretty cool. Like, if you ever get a chance to come down, definitely do go to the desk and try to pick one up.
Yeah, and I saw behind us, as our monitor is still not working, that IM11 Shanghai is going to be featuring the finals of round number 3, so that's going to be pretty intense.
That is.
All those teams, or those 2 teams rather, going over to China for that one.
And I'm pretty sure that, I'm not 100% sure, I haven't done the math yet, but whoever wins today will likely clinch that spot going to the grand finals of round 3. So we're starting off tonight with Cure versus Leenock. As you guys can see, Leenock is definitely the underdog, 0-3 versus Terran, and 2-5 overall. He's been kind of, this season, the 4th player for KT Rolster, but he still hasn't pulled his weight as much as the 3 gods that are on his team.
As you said, he's been the most consistent 4th pick for KT, but he still really hasn't found that success. We finally do have our monitor up and running, so we're going to be able to have a smooth cast from here on out.
Yeah, I feel like we handled it pretty well. We got through that dark
we did
moment.
Wolf. Nice.
But actually, in head-to-head, Leenock is 2-1 currently, and you and I and Daehyun are tied in first place with the prediction.
It's neck and neck here, coming down to the wire as we start to finish up round 3. But we are pulling ahead of some of the other members here. GTR, the only one that's really that close so far. Guys, we're going to jump right into game number 1, Cure versus Leenock on Overgrowth. Down here in the bottom left, in the green, for, you guessed it, the Jin Air Green Wings, it is Cure.
And up to the top right, in red, a long-standing Starcraft 2 pro, it is Leenock, who's actually done something a bit unusual and taken his hair from purple to blonde.
Yeah.
I think it's his first time. A lot of changes coming in here at the end of round 3 for some of these players.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of changes for us, too. We got headsets now.
Yeah, we're Sennheiser boys.
Yeah.
I don't have to hold that mic up anymore. So I'm feeling good about it.
I don't know, it was a nice little workout, you know, holding that mic for the entire cast, but this is definitely a lot more comfortable.
Absolutely,
sure.
It's more fluid. It's more what I was used to for most of my casting career. Only at SPL2016 did I really become accustomed to hand mics. I did a little bit of hand mic casting at WCG as well. But talking about these two players, Leenock is a household name in Starcraft 2. You've been following since the beginning. You know this guy in and out. I was actually once part of the same team as he was Epic's Open before that disbanded and became FOU again. Leenock is the name that's known, but Cure is a lesser-known player who is actually consistently better performing than Leenock, even though he's not as famous, not as known as the KT Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, Cure's definitely found that success, especially after joining Jin Air. He hasn't had a finals yet, I don't believe.
Yeah,
he's had multiple round 4s.
He came very close. He was in a best of 7 with Innovation that he lost the 7th game of that prevented him from going to the finals. And here's a fan here who actually brought his waifu down to the studios off camera.
You guys missed it, yeah. He's got his waifu doll here.
He's got his waifu. But he was 1 game away from defeating Innovation and going to the finals. Innovation won, I believe, in 2015, Season 1. One of those rounds back then, or GSLs rather. And then he faced TY again and to try to go to the finals, but TY defeated him and went on to face Zest in the most recent GSL finals. So a 2-time top performer in the GSL, 2 round of 4s, and a very consistently good Pro League player, especially this year. And I think definitely the favorite. He was a 7-0 vote as well going into this.
I was so busy looking at our prediction ratings and where we stand to actually see how it went, but no surprise that Cure does get the votes here, a lot more consistent of a player. This is going to be fun. We don't see all that many Zergs coming out nowadays, as Korea's kind of, you know, said, hey, Zerg is the underpowered race right now. We want to use other players, we want to use other races. And obviously some changes are coming into effect soon. Yeah, next week is what the official post said. I don't think a date was given, but it'll probably be Maintenance Day. I was excited to see it. I thought maybe the patch was coming out today, but it's next week. Yeah. Everybody hold your horses. I'm going to do a little bit of a spoiler, but I was going to vote for Rogue instead of Zest if those changes did come in, but they're not in yet. Yeah. That's going to be a really interesting map, too, that second game, because it's on Frost. I feel like Rogue, you know, he's beaten Zest with weird strategies before, right? Definitely something crazy could happen. It is a best of 1, and it is Frost, too, so. Definitely could happen. We'll have to wait and see a bit later on. At this game, Speed's going to finish good scouting attempts here by Leenock with his Overlords. Good denials as well from Cure. He's trying to hide the fact that he is going for this Hellion opening. In fact, committing to 4 Hellions already. And look, he's even going to bait these Lings to try to get some kills here. The Reaper survives as well, and he will maintain control of the Watchtower for the time being. But the Hellions are revealed. Yeah, lots of Hellions coming out 2 at a time, and now 2 Liberators as he switches. Or actually makes a second reactor here for that starport, so... This is starting to feel like either an all-in timing, if we see an armory come up perhaps, or there's the armory. This is basically the TY build, right? He did it against Departure on Frost cross position, and he just made it work, and it was not close. Someone did it against Biel on this map, too. It's just a really strong, aggressive build. I like the fact that he is using it here. I feel like Cure could have taken it longer, you know, into a longer game, but you can start off like this and get a lot of damage done as well.
Yeah, it's a very powerful build, but it can only transition into mech, obviously because he has one single barracks, and the only thing he's done with that is prevent scouting. The first 2 Liberators coming across the map are just out of vision of that Overlord as well, so he's not going to have much advanced notice that this is coming. He's actually not committing to 2 additional ones at the time. Okay, he just started them. And he has spotted this. Let's see how quickly he can respond. Spores.
Oh, there's no wall! And there's nothing back here. Okay, a couple of Hellions pop out, but he doesn't know, he's not reacting.
Yeah. Okay, he's going to need to block here, maybe even repair that Hellion. The armory is finished here, but he has Banelings already set up, and the Liberators are being warded off. Leenock with a very solid defense so far.
He needs to get more Lings out here, though.
Oh,
whoa,
man.
flying the Liberator over the Spore. The second one comes out here.
Not a single drone. Okay, 1 drone dies. 1 drone dies. Leenock's defense is the definition of rock solid right now. He holds this with flying colors, shuts this down, kills both Liberators.
I was talking up this build, saying this, you know, this is going to be a good build. He should be able to get some damage done, but this got basically no damage done. Kjur took a ton of damage himself.
A build is a build, but an execution is something else entirely, and this was a poor execution of a strong build from Kjur. But also Leenock's preparation was intense. He had the Banelings ready. He already knew it was coming without even scouting it. He had extra queens and spores, blind spores that helped protect him. And again, the Spore Crawler moving into position, drones evacuated, only 2 kills so far, and also the larva.
It's just the ultimate defense, like you were saying. This isn't over, by the way. A bunch of Hellbats, but he doesn't split! They all get killed by the Banelings!
Oh, man.
Oh,
and
no!
this CC is the signal that this push is basically over, okay? He has to transition. He did get a little bit more damage done with those Liberators that were in the main base, and he has them still over here. They're still a threat. And Leenock did get split a bit, he got a bit caught, a bit split. But the key things here to note is his lair is now finishing. He has 1-1 upgrades on the way, and he's finally flexible enough to drone. He's droning up again. He's getting his economy back online.
Oh, man, Kjur.
Shut down again. In range of the Spore.
Yeah, another mistake. It doesn't look like he's playing too fluidly today, to be honest, and it's definitely going to hurt him here. He gets a bit of damage
done. Yeah. This is too much. He's actually really starting to turn his control on. And when you have this many Liberators, I mean, it's hard to multitask against this. He's going to lose a queen here and multiple more drones as well as a few larvae. And look, this isn't dealt with yet either. Move command on the queen, and he targets the drones manually here just to ensure he can get maximum damage. Very well done. And suddenly, within seconds, this game has turned from bad to excellent for Kjur.
Yeah, in just a few seconds, as you were saying, here comes a bunch of Lings at the front, but there are Hellions to defend. He now has that 3rd CC ready to go.
The wall's going to break down, and he does get inside, but with 4 Hellions here, they could even be transformed to Hellbats. This should be an easy defense for Kjur.
Yeah, no problem, and just throwing away a bunch of those Lings, not really finding damage, and there's more Hellbats on the way, and he still hasn't cleaned up all these Liberators.
Yeah, wow.
Making another Spore now, just trying to desperately deal with this.
This is actually crazy how much he's turned this around. He just didn't lose many of his Liberators, so they just kept doing damage, and Leenock started to crumble a little bit. Even Hellbats in here cleaning out the stern line. This is almost starting to look like a lost game. Those Lings were such a waste as well. They accomplished nothing. They killed a Supply Depot and a Hellion earlier for all the map pressure he had, which spends a lot of his larvae, so it's harder for him to drone. He lost so much larva. Even the Liberators were killing larvae. You know, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, not the cleanest game we've had here at the SPL. But obviously a lot on the line for both of these teams and for both of these players, so perhaps a bit of nerves coming in.
He's going to need more than 4 Mutalisks to deal with this as well. I mean, I suppose if he catches them when they're in Liberation mode, he should still be able to clean them up, and I guess they can technically kill 2 Liberators that are damaged by Queens. But his Spire tech here is just purely going to be for dealing with Liberators. And by the way, we haven't mentioned this at all, but Kjur has done what I thought would basically be the impossible. He's instead of going to mech, he went totally the other way. He went for bio. He's been doing this for a long time, but this is not news. I mean, look at the production tab, you can see he's been working on it for a while. But he's adding now those extra barracks. He needs to keep this 3rd base alive, though, to make use of all those production facilities.
Yeah, it was basically a full transition, and at the same time, he took the 3rd base. If he didn't get that damage done with the Liberators, he was going to be so far behind. Leenock could have put on so much pressure, you know. He would have had all of that larva. He wouldn't have lost so many drones.
He could have even done like a Baneling counterattack if that was survived.
He could have maybe ended the game, as you were saying, and a little bit more damage coming in here.
But with all that damage, he's now had the room to make this bio army that has Hellbat support and has 1-1 upgrades nearly completed. The only thing he's missing here is combat shields, but otherwise everything is solid.
Also, the other thing we have to mention is that Leenock is going back to that Ling Bling Muta style. We really do not see this all that often in Korea anymore. It's really the Roach Ravager into a Hive with some Infestors. That's like the common build you see in ZVT nowadays. But he's really trying to mix it up, and maybe it's because he needed those Banelings for the defense of the first push, and he's like, oh, I've already got this Baneling nest. I can transition into the style rather easily. But is he going to be able to hold off a push like this with all these Hellbats and these 1-1 Marines? They don't have combat shields because of how late the upgrades came in.
Yeah, that's the only worrisome thing. Okay, this Baneling counterattack will break down this wall, and look at this! Money SCVs! He doesn't get as many as I thought he would, but still 8 is decent. The problem is all those Banelings are now no longer ready for the defense, and I think this push will just simply roll Leenock over. He's 25 army supply down. No splits, though! Where's the splits? There they are! And that should be enough.
I think that should be enough. As long as he has enough Marines to deal with the Mutas in the sky, that's really going to be the question here. And there's not enough Mutas. There's only 5 left over.
Now, it looks like actually maybe there just barely is. Maybe there just barely is enough to push this back. But this is not, again, this is Leenock surviving, but this is still pretty bad for him. He lost a few drones here, but he needs to save these medevacs. He needs to send them back. And Hellbat's actually trying to chase on the drones. Lost mining time here for Leenock. As a close call there, he could have lost a lot more. But wow, damn, was that close. I mean, he almost had enough. He almost had enough. This is crazy. Okay.
And, you know, I thought with how little damage, I thought that actually Leenock did a lot less damage at this third base, but he delayed so much mining time, in fact. Here took a long time to get this base back on mine.
No cancel on that CC, by the way. He just lost a chunk of minerals there, which is important. That bio army didn't have combat shields, and it wasn't totally ready yet, you know? It hadn't gotten its, what's the word for this? Like, it hadn't hit critical mass yet. It wasn't quite there yet. And he almost still won the game with it, but he didn't have enough anti-air. Now Leenock is readying for a follow-up attack. He's going to have 2-2 just seconds before Cure does. And he has a lot of links here he could transform into Banelings. Cure needs to be careful right now. Don't forget, Leenock is also going back to his roots and setting up Baneling burrow traps. So that's something else that Cure is going to have to worry about. We haven't seen much of it yet, but the tech is available.
Yeah, I think he'll
definitely.
there it is!
Oh, this is what I'm talking about!
Oh, he gets a good chunk there. It was actually hidden by the medevacs, but definitely doing a nice bit of damage there. And that's not the first time we're going to be seeing that, as you were saying. I love also the burrowed lings at all the potential expansion zones here of the Terran. Even the gold base getting a ling in there.
Yeah, this is something Leenock specifically as a Zerg is famous for. Since the old days when burrow was more expensive and harder to get, this counterattack, only a bunker, that's not enough.
Oh, that CC is so low! He can just kill that with all the mutas, I think. He's going to try to repair here.
Oh, it's too much. He's going to lose the CC and almost all of his SCVs here as well. Some indecision here by Cure. He couldn't make the choice to either just save the SCVs and let the CC go, or save the CC and commit to it harder there. So he didn't save the CC and he lost 12 SCVs. And look at the production tab right now. The Hive is nearly done. And that's the big scary thing for Terran players right now, is dealing with the Ultralists in the late game.
Before, I was looking at the upgrades, and Cure was finishing up 2-2, and I'm like, oh man, Leenock must be behind, but he had 2-2 way ahead of Cure, actually.
Yeah, he finished it just before.
Yeah, and he immediately starts 3-3 at the same time as the Terran. This is not a common thing when you're playing this kind of style, but he's taking control of this game with all of his counterattacking. He held off the attack there by Cure onto his third base, and he's going to go for another counterattack here.
This is what happens when you get a tempo advantage in this matchup. The Zerg will just run circles around the Terran, but by no means is this game over. Cure, despite losing that third CC, has relocated his natural, he's relocated his main, so he still has 2 mining bases, and he has a strong Terran bio army. The Ultralisk Cavern isn't ready yet. I think there's a window of time here where Cure can put some serious hurt onto Leenock. He might have to sacrifice some counterattack damage to do it, but he needs to be decisive now, because if he doesn't go soon, Leenock is going to out-expand him, and he's going to have that Ultralisk tech. And with only 2 CCs, if either of these CCs dies, Cure's mining, he can't just lift another one and put it over there. Like, he is in dire need of a big win in a fight right now.
And I'm not sure if he's gonna have it here. I mean, Leenock is continuing with this pressure, and he's taking a 5th base now. He's getting all the upgrades in time, even adrenal glands. The Ultralists are coming out, and Cure's production on 2 bases is not going to be enough to keep up with all that Leenock's got. I think Leenock is going to max out. He's going to get a bunch of Ultras out, and he's just going to steamroll Cure's bio army.
All right. this is the moment where Kerr's starting to put some pressure on. He's scouted, though. He's scouted, and look, Mutalist checks it out. He's got a Baneling trap set up for a ground-based run-by. He's got Mutas for the medevacs, and this will again be totally shut down. And Kerr is running out of time. Another medevac sniped here as well on the left side of the map.
Oh, man.
Here's
look
the push.
At that. The push is coming in, and he immediately goes for a counterattack. Perfect timing here, and this is one of the CCs you were talking about.
Yeah.
He needs to lift.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. He had to commit to an attack, and he had to know that he would sacrifice his bases to do it. There's no turning around here. He turns around, he's going to eliminate a decent amount of Banelings, but he has to go now. He has to attack. If he's just going to sit on these bases, he's losing this game. This CC is burning down. Traps are set up. Reinforcements are cut off. It looks like that center tower is going to burn down as well.
It's going to burn down. He's going to lose it. The Banelings, they get a decent hit, but hitting mostly Marauders, actually, so not the most, but he's doing way too much damage.
What is he doing?
He's
doing nothing. He's doing nothing. He's sitting there with his army. He's being too indecisive. He had to attack. He had to sacrifice those bases and basically base trade. I know it's difficult against a Mutalist player, but that was his only chance, I feel. But now he's lost a base and accomplished nothing. This push is too small and too late. 7 Ultras are about to pop out.
7 Ultras, along with the rest of his army, too.
He's even gooping the +3 armor for a minute. He slowed that down. That's not finished. More run-bys here, more counterattacks, and this game is falling out of Kerr's hands very quickly.
Leenock kind of sacrificing his mutas over there, but I'm not sure it's going to matter at this point. Leenock even going way off creep. And in fact, he keeps a bunch of those mutas alive, maybe 3 or 4. And I think this is the push I was talking about, where he just steamrolls this army. It's so small for the Terran.
Here we go. Have you ever seen an Ultralist before? If it's your first time, I hope you're a Zerg fan, because this is not looking good for the Terran player here.
GG! Leenock takes the upset win and gives KT a 1-0 advantage.
This is huge. This is the win that if they took, they are severely favored, I feel, with these two lineups to take the series. And in fact, there's even a chance they could take it with a 3-0 sweep, taking 3 indicator points, putting them at 5-0. KT is on fire now, and we see Leenock, the 4th player, finally coming into his own here when it matters the most.
Very surprised by that result. You know, it really just came down to a failed early build, but then he got a lot of damage done, Pure did. But then he just took way too much damage. Leenock looked so just solid and comfortable in that Ling Baneling Muta style. Something that we haven't seen in a while, but worked well for the map. So many counterattacks. He never really fought the army on, straight up when he had to. He survived and he took extra bases. He was constantly getting ahead of Pure in that game.
So Leenock takes an upset win, and now either Rogue or Maro will need to take a win to force that 4th game. And for Jin Air, I think that given the current state of Zerg, the patch isn't out yet, and Zest's dominant reign, yes, Rogue specifically Rogue has beaten him before, but he needs to take a win, or Maro is going to have to do what is going to be very difficult to do, win a TVT versus TY. Someone who defeated his teammate in the round of 4 of the GSL last season. This is a scary moment for Jin Air, given the lineups that we have. They're absolutely in dire straits right now, I would say even. This is a win they needed to take, and Cure failed them.
They needed this Cure win, and then they needed one of Rogue, Maro, or SOS to take their games, which definitely is possible, if not probable or expected. You know, that Maro versus TY game, I don't even know what the predictions are, but they should be pretty close. I know SOS versus Stats is 4-3.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil who predicted what yet, but we did have actually a Rogue vote. There was one person that went for Rogue.
There was.
I was thinking about it. I was pretty close, but I had to go with the safe pick, which I think is Zest in that matchup.
I think Zest is definitely the safe pick. He is probably the best player individually in the world. Jin Air proved in round 2 that they are the best team in the world, but they are, 1 win behind KT. They need this win to pass them, to take that 1st place spot. Both teams, of course, still have one more match to play after this one. It's their 2nd to last game, so we're not set yet. But for this next match, Rogue needs to be a hero. He's had a week, no, not even really, actually, because we still have our announcements on Fridays. He's only had a day to prepare, now that I think about it. So he has to have prepared in a day the build to defeat the king of StarCraft 2, the best player in the world, Zest.